If you check at the video clips at DCP party headquarters, you will agree with me that these private security were a security risk to even the journalist. You don't need to be a trained firearm operator to see. You can even just check a few minutes from now that the firearms people, the way they were behaving there, it was a risk to everybody, including themselves. I have an idea of two people. There is one in a suit with a rifle, cocking the rifle and shooting in the air. First of all, it is a regulation that big firearms such as rifles should not be used with people in plain clothes. How sure are you that this person is not a terrorist or anything? People in plain clothes usually use small firearms, pistols and whatever, things that you can conceal. But here is a situation which reminded me of my police days, where there is an alarm and police officers do not even have time to put on uniform. They just go to the armory, take guns and go on. If that is what security for him is, somebody cocking and shooting in the air a rifle, I would request my viewer to go and watch that. It is quite risky. And you can even see he was among the crowd. He was not even in the compound. He was among the crowd. Secondly, there's another one whom one of the local TV stations even rounded up his face, who was peeping between the two doors with a pistol. Now, if that is what Rigathi Gachagua is praising, that the private security, those are no different from Gorokos. They are no different from Shifta, and they are no different from Al Shabaab. They were a risk to everybody who was there. You can see the kind of firing that they were doing, and you must come to a conclusion that these are people who should not have firearms, as they are a threat to whoever is around. The only person who is not a threat to them is anybody who is far away from their rifle range. Yes, we have cases where, like I said, we have cases where we have an emergency, where police officers go out in civilian and in rifle. But you could see the way these people are handling the guns. One would even start thinking that if they are handling guns that way, then I mean, when you look at the video, you'd even think that these are people maybe who have snatched guns from the police or from security people, and these are the people who are who are being said private security. There is something I want to share with you, that Gachagua is trying to misuse people. In a democracy, one vote is equal to one vote. You see, one man, one vote, isn't it? A professor in constitutional affairs has one vote, just like an illiterate person. Ukotodonyang or Nauyapong, where I used to stay, they have the same vote. But let me tell you one thing. Okay, let me talk about Raila. Raila has a private security, and you saw they in charge was an inspector of police reserve. What happens is that if we have to take our benchmark on Raila's security, you'll never see their firearm. You'll never see their firearm. And Raila was very clever. He knew that he's always in the government and out of the government, in the government and out of the government. And the government security goes as per your relationship with the head of state. So Raila was very clever. He made sure that his private security are made police reservist. I don't think Nani has done that. I don't think Gachagua has done that. Eh? So first of all, make your security, private security, be police reservist. Two, Raila at his own expenses. Bwana huyu jamaa tunafikiriji ni mkono gamu. He took his security for trainings both in South Africa and Israel. Why am I saying so? Have you ever seen Raila's private security coming out with guns blazing and whatever? And they all have guns. The only thing you can know is they are black. Sijawahi ona mjaluo brown kama mtaita. They are black and they put on dark glasses. That's when you know this is Raila's security. They perform their work so well. Hmm? Not what we saw at the gate there. And let me tell you, I have no close relationship with them, so but I will not be shocked if they have rifles and whatever. But they conceal it. Eh? And again, you when you have your private security, make them police reservists. After you make them police reservists, at your own expenses, just like Raila did, take them to South Africa, take them to Israel, let them come back. They'll perform very well. Not like what we saw at a DCP office where these people were acting like kids who have toy guns. Yeah, that is what I wanted to say. So these people, and then another thing I wanted to say before I started talking about Raila's issue is that if your security is a police reservist, if you turn them to be police reservists and train them, you see what I'm seeing here, if I'm not wrong, these are people who are ex-servicemen. Like me. These are ex-servicemen who whom Wamunyororo and other politicians are now taking as their private security. Now, what Wamunyororo did, is it Wamunyororo? Me, I know it is Herega. Go Kabiroine, Madera West. What I know about his security, what I guess is that they must have been former police officers. And when they are former police officers, they not all police officers have attended VIP protection course. Not all. Well, let me tell you, Kiganjo is an academy. Kiganjo is an academy as compared to APTC, as compared to GSU training school and whatever. GSU training school, when I was there, 90% of the training were there was militarism. There is what do you call in Kiganjo as a recruit? As a recruit, we only had one afternoon per week, which we called weapon train musketry. We called it musketry. But in GSU, APTC, KFS, and whatever, you are taught maneuver. You are taught a lot of things. So maybe this fellow has just taken 2 police officers or 3 who are in the crime branch or traffic, and they are given guns, being trained in the police, and him having been the deputy president, he must have had influence on them being given civilian private firearms. Now that he's no longer the deputy president, plus, let me tell you one thing people don't know, is that private security firearm licenses are given with a certain conditions. There are some firearms which are military type. You cannot be given license to. Now, when, as I said, this government, and the 5 governments we have had in Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta, Arab Moi, Mwai Kibaki, Uhuru, and now Ruto, it is just the same. You are very close to the government, you do whatever you want. You are not close to the government, wanakutafuta. So him being the deputy president, he may have bypassed a lot of things. He may have bypassed a lot of things whereby, how does the chief firearms licensing officer refuse to give a license for, they are called self-loading rifle, SLR? He cannot do that against a deputy president. And you know, by our constitution, deputy president is more powerful than a vice president because he appeared on the ballot paper. Now, those who gave you powers when you had power, now they know Omwana wa Papa Lando here is more powerful than you. They will withdraw that firearm. Or, see, these people are police officers, traffic and whatever, they were taught in Kiganjo that no civilian, because Right now, I'm a civilian. Uh, 24 hours after you leave the police force, you are a civilian. No civilian is given let's say an automatic whatever, unless it is a small firearm like a machine pistol or something. But a rifle, a civilian, if I were to apply for a license, I would given that manual loading rifle. Now, since he was the deputy president, let me tell you the truth. This is the problem with Kenya. Like right now, you start calling, hey, one time Kasongo sijui nini nini. Hey, we have a lot of people. You have a lot of people who will worship you. They'll even forget that you took people to River Yala. You'll be forgiven. It is just like these Pentecostal churches. You just say, nimeokoka, Yesu ni Bwana. They tell you you are assured of going to heaven. That is what happens with some of these people who are militant anti-government. If today Ruto left the government and the new president started harassing him, these people who are calling him names will sympathize with him. To these people in Kenya, anybody who is anti-government, that fellow is clean like pamba. So that is what I'm trying to say is that let us look at those people. And in fact, if anybody who was in authority and he was bad and he comes out and start talking things, ignore him. And that is what I'm saying, that in so many words, that Gachagua, when he was the deputy president, he must have bypassed certain things whereby uh, former police officers who are forming his private security were even allowed to have automatic rifles. Now, you see, it is an incident like this one that can make the rifles be withdrawn. Not even this one. In fact, this is an extreme. They need even a quarter of what has happened to tell the person. They just call you and tell you that your license has been revoked, or the terms of your license has been changed to an extent that you will now handle guns that do not have automatic whatever. Every shot you use, the next shot you have to load it. Self-loading rifles or self-loading pistol. Okay, pistols are different, but self-loading rifles, you will be told not to handle that. As I finish off the second and last part of this, uh, have you noticed that you may I a lot of people, me included, have always associated the political violence with the places like Kasipul. Places like Central Province, Murima, has never been associated with violence. But I can tell you something that you don't know. Central is very peaceful, but there are two places in Central that have never known peace throughout the world. For those who are old enough will remember, Juno and Jinu used to fight in Kirinyaga a lot of time. And they were not even from one constituency, and they used to fight each other. We also know that Madera, where I come from, Madera, where Nani comes from, is also has a history of violence, uh, deadly violence. Uh, Something that we did, I'm part of I played that part in 1997. From 1997, Madera has not had violence, but this fellow is trying to bring it back. If you look at, you can see today he was opening an office at Gitanga in Moranga, but his stronghold is Kirinyaga, which has a history of political violence, and he comes from Madera, a place of political violence. So I tend to believe that the violence that is surrounding him has more to do with why is it that Mother Karua is not associated with violence, although she comes from Kirinyaga, yes, but even the way he talks and whatever, he seems to be a person who loss of life is just like Lotodo. Yeah, I think he's in the same league with Lotodo. I had forgotten, but when I mentioned Lotodo, uh, I've remembered that in his press conference, Gachagua talked about Kiamba. Uh, he likes talking death. He likes talking death to frighten people and so on. But let Kenyans know this. One thing We had a case in ICC, but people made a mistake. They included the name of this fellow called Police Francis Loile Lotodo. Francis Loile Lotodo died 7 years before, 6 to 7 years before 2007. He died in South Africa. And in a court case, they need something that they call beyond reasonable doubt. Now, when you say that Ruto sat down with Lotodo and planned that, and Lotodo had died 7 years earlier, then it speaks volume. But let me say this. I used to work in Eldoret with the intelligence during Muge's time. Immediately after Muge died, I was the provincial criminal intelligence officer. Not okay. There is a difference between provincial criminal investigation officer and provincial criminal intelligence officer. I was the desk officer in charge of criminal intelligence in Rift Valley during the Molo clashes. This thing about Kiamba thing is something else, and I am happy with the Kikuyus from Eldoret who said, please don't bring problems to us. Now, what happened? Yes, there was a plan to evict Kikuyus from that area. Actually, it is Ainabukoi area. It's a Ainabukoi area. And in Rift Valley, a lot of people have bought a lot of lands. So when you go to Kapenguria, you'll find there's a place called Kambikisi. You go to Keringet, between West Pokot and the border of West Pokot and Trans Nzoia, you get Luya Farm. You get Keio Farm. Luya Farm was bought by Luyas. Keio were bought by Elgeyo Marakwet people, such a thing. Kiamba was bought by Kikuyus from Kiamba in Kiambu. Those are the ones who bought that and called the area Kiamba in Ainabukoi. Now, what happened is that Kalenjins used to be tricked. You could buy land at a throwaway price, and soon you discover the land is gone. And that is why Moi, when he became the president, it's a long story. I don't want to include it here. But when Moi became the president, there was that thing that Rift Valley be for Kalenjins. Kamatusa, they used to be called Kamatusa. Kamatusa for you was Ka means Kalenjin, Ma is Maasai, Tu is Turkana, Sa is Samburu, Kamatusa. But the people who are more affected by it was more of Kalenjin. So there was an aim to send away Kikuyus from that place. And they used to use, especially when multi-party came, they used to use that thing as an excuse to cause tension. So when they wanted to make it unpeaceful, not peaceful for Kikuyus, nobody sat down to plan to ban people in church. No. What happened is there was a plan to evict Kikuyus from Ainabukoi. Ainabukoi, a lot of people know Ainabukoi as burnt forest. That is where Kiamba is, in those areas. Now, when they planned to chase these people, suddenly everybody felt that Kenyans are Christian. And since Kenyans are Christians, nobody will interfere with you when you go to church. So it was something that was decided in nick of a second. Somebody felt you leave your house, as you go, you see across the river, the other side, houses are burning and people are shouting. So Kalenjins are those directions. You look left, you look right, you see in all directions, Kalenjins are killing Kikuyus. Then you decide to go to the church. The decision to go to the church was done simultaneous by everybody, in a belief that if you go to church, nobody will follow you that. What people did not know is that they were high on a lot of drinks and a lot of smoke, and that is why they followed the people up to the church. Let me tell you that the decision to ban people in the church was not made, but the decision to ban Kikuyu's houses, I'm talking as a half a Kikuyu. I'm talking as somebody who was sacked from the special branch because of my Kikuyu lineage, because of the Molo clashes. And I'm telling you that although the Kiamba thing happened after I left services, but it is just that, you just imagine where you are staying. Every house is being burned and whatever. You cannot even go to the trading center. You only go to the nearest church, and they all rushed to the church. The rest is history. Thank you.